Well, hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today's video is from the Titleist Performance Centre at Woburn. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the new T100, T150 and T200. I wanted to come up here and just experiment with them. Wanted to have a little look and see if there's anything in these new products that might be able to beat, and they have to beat, my MBs. My MBs have been in the bag for a number of years. I've tried so hard to move around with different clubs, but I keep running back to my bladed irons because they feel good, they perform really well, and I just enjoy playing with them. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at these three models. I'm going to put them through the test. We're going to catch up with Duncan, the fitter here at Titleist, see what he has to say, see if there's anything that he can improve, whether it's in the shaft, whether it's in the head, from what I'm currently playing. So let's get into the fitting. Sounds good.
Good shot there.
Good again.
What do you feel like you need to be a better iron player?
I think just a little bit more forgiveness would be ideal for me. I know I'm not a centre striker all the time, whereas, and then when I miss-hit these, you know, I'm losing so much ball speed. You just know that you're going to be coming up 10, 15 short all the time, you know.
Left side.
Pull it a little bit, grab a piece.
Ooh.
Call it a little clean, which came up a fraction short.
Yeah, there you go. So having a look at some numbers there, Dan, I think that was a good group. As I said, there was some really good ones and then a couple of slight misses in there. Average ball speed at 113.8, but again pretty tight. You know, you do get a little bit of drop off when you thin it slightly, but plus or minus 1.6 there. Average spin rate just under 7,000, so really good. Average carry 154, average total 160, so plenty stopping power. You know, not a massive difference between your carry and your total. Peak height 84 and landing angle at 46. So again, like going to play firmer courses, they would be the numbers I'd maybe look at a little bit more in depth, because 46 with a 7 maybe just slightly on the shallow side for the level of golf you play at. So if we could get the peak height a little bit higher and the land angle a little steeper, it's just much easier to obviously stop the ball. But yeah, I mean, where you're at, I would say is pretty good, but I definitely think there's some things we can get you into that's just going to help you out a little bit from a kind of forgiveness side of it as well. Okay, so what I'm going to start you in is T100. So exact same shaft and lie angle as your own, Project S 6.0 and 2 flat.
Yep.
So only variable I'm changing here is the head. What I would like to do is get you hitting some with 100, 150, 200, because I think, you know, you've just sat in a presentation there, 80% of tour players are blending their sets. Yeah. You know, obviously the reason behind that is getting more forgiveness at that lower end of the bag, kind of as we spoke about with the 5-iron. But it'll be really good just to see the differences between each club, and then obviously hitting some with the longer irons in each as well.
Okay. Good thing is that one did just catch a bit thin as well.
It's almost a slightly different window as well, a slightly
completely
clean
different.
one.
Like that's up there.
Yeah, but I think the one to look at there is ball speed as well. You know, that was pretty much your average with your own.
Was it?
So your thin one with your MB dropped about 111.
Yeah.
You've still got 114 ball speed out of that. Good swing. Shot.
That's an impressive height difference.
Great shot. So looking at dispersion, you had that one, maybe slightly looser one in there. You can see there the clip path kind of got a little bit inside. Comparing that to your own, again taking that one you slightly missed out, pretty similar to be fair, if not a tiny bit tighter. What I like is you're still seeing consistency from a distance standpoint as well as kind of left and right there. Just comparing numbers, kind of apples to apples. Ball speed, you've jumped from 13.8 to 15. That's what you'd expect to see. You've got a degree stronger loft in there as well, but more consistent, plus or minus 1 compared to plus or minus 1.6 with your own. And again, that's more less of a drop off as opposed to seeing like really quick ones sometimes off the face. Spin rate, you know, almost identical, 30 revs a minute in it, so that's great to see. You gained 2.7 yards of carry and 2.7 yards of total. Peak height, you went from 84 to 87 in landing angle. You gained about half a degree in landing angle, so 46.6 with your own, you know, 47.1 there. So definitely better there.
Peak heights, what was that?
84 to 87, so
yeah,
3.
And that's very noticeable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, be interesting to get you hitting a few more.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good. Like, it's good to see an increase again. I wouldn't mind seeing that as close to 90 as we can.
Yeah.
But again, if you look at kind of all the standard deviation numbers, they're tighter than your own. But again, that's exactly what you'd expect to see, giving you something slightly more forgiving in there. So 150 this time. Again, the only thing we're changing here is head. Yep. We're still 2 degrees flat, 6.0.
Completely different sound.
Yeah. But
feel.
What's happened is ball speed
shot up
quite a lot, and that was for a slightly right miss, so with the face still being a little bit open there as well.
So for me, the feel and sound off of that felt more, I always think acoustics wise and then relates to feel for me.
Yeah.
That to me felt high pitched.
Yeah.
It's a high pitched noise rather than a duller noise as such.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got the muscle channel in 7 down the 4 iron.
Yeah.
So it will feel slightly different in those irons. Great shot. Great shot. So when you're saying it, you know, slightly higher pitch, slightly different feel, you know, is that a positive, or where are you at with that difference from obviously your own and the T1?
I actually probably, it feels a bit softer.
Right.
In its feel to me.
Shot. Shot. Okay, again, couple in there, really good. Couple slight misses, so good one to look at. So yeah, actually a little more right biased with the 150 there, for whatever reason. You had that one that you know, that slight clean miss, but again, I would say pretty good control of depth there. Looking at numbers again compared to the MB and the T1, big jump in ball speed. So you've gone from, you know, go back to your own 113.8, you're now just shy of 120. You have seen a little more deviation in that there. Again, it'd be quite interesting if you take that kind of clean, thin one out. Yeah, it's still pretty good, to be fair, at 1.3 without that one in. But yeah, ball speed's nearly at 120. Spin did drop a little bit, down to 65. So although it's dropped, you know, still in a very manageable position. Your MB spin was 69.70, T100 spin almost identical at 69.40. You've dropped about 400 revs per minute, going from the 100 to the 150.
And that's again, ultimately just loft, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 degrees stronger. You're seeing about 200 revs for each degree there. It's exactly what you'd expect to see. Big one being 154 carry in your MB to 166 carry, and 160 to 171 total. But the big thing for you is you've actually gained peak height. You're at 90 now. Landing angle actually the exact same as what you were with T100 though, at 47. So again, I think it'd be interesting to come back and try a couple different shafts in there and almost get a preference from yourself as well. But again, just kind of going back to blended sets, it's a great option to just give yourself a little more help. Just looking at the ball speed numbers, you know, 7 irons in each one, but you're seeing a big jump. Even just going from T1 to that 150 there. T200 this time. Same again, Project X 6.0, 2 degrees flat. See 5 or 6, bit of feedback from yourself as well on these, Dan.
Visually,
yep,
very similar to the old TMB,
right,
which I have had a go with in the past. Not a great deal of difference, if I'm honest, between maybe just it's a slightly different colouring, as in like it's a little shinier than the 150. Yeah, but not a lot of difference between those two, I don't think.
Blade length is similar.
Yeah.
Offset's very similar. Yeah. Top line, you're going to notice it being slightly thicker, but we've done a really good job of the finish essentially, of kind of hiding it.
Yeah. It's just so different to see the ball up there
Yeah, I wouldn't. I was going to say
With
I
the
wouldn't be
feel.
surprised if that was 100 there. Peak height,
with
or-
the feel of the same feel as what I have in my own clubs.
Yeah, just completely different window, isn't it, Dan?
Completely different, yeah. Okay, so that's my little clean one.
It's a very good clean one, though, isn't it? How was the strike there?
Slightly thin, like
Have you-
ball divot, you know.
Have you buttoned one yet?
No,
Yeah.
again, a little thin.
Just sounds like you can't get into the back of the ball with that. Yeah. Is that what you felt there a little?
Yeah, I had to really
But you've got to manipulate that to
dig
get it
down
to
a little
work,
bit
don't
to
you?
get it. But you asked for a button one, and that's pretty
Well,
much as
there you
good
go,
as
yeah.
I've got, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
98
centre
peak
strike.
height, 48. It's
Yeah.
very good, yeah. Didn't really sound like you quite got the strike when we moved to T2. Again, kind of got you to manipulate it a little bit at the end, and we did get a really good strike. But just due to the sole there, the last thing you really want to be doing is standing over it thinking, right, I've really got to do a certain thing to get it to actually work. Ball speeds, you know, you're actually very similar to 150, and again, I think that's more the fact that struggled to get the strike a little bit there. Spin rate was good, 6,500. Average carry 165, so very similar to 150. Average total at 172, so going a little further, just from a slight drop in spin. The land angle 46.5, peak height 88. So on the really good one with the T200, you know, peaking much closer to 100.
Yeah.
Land angle at 49 or even 50. But definitely in a 7-iron, it looked much easier for you to get the strike with both the 100 and the 150 models there.
I think from a feel point of view, turf interaction, all those things that we've been talking about here, I feel like the 150 felt the best.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to perform really well with it. However, the T100, I just felt like I was really happy with the window in which it was going through.
Yep.
Because it's certainly higher than what I'm getting out of my MBs. And I love the spin out of what I'm getting out of that T100. I've really, like over the years, I've tried this. I've gone down these little rabbit holes of looking for a bit more yardage and things like that. But ultimately, as soon as I get into wet conditions or slightly in the semi-rough, or off a T-peg where I'm maybe sweeping it a little bit more, I see those spin numbers just drop off a smidge, and then I can sail it over the back of a green.
Yeah.
And that really makes me anxious, and which is why I've probably over the years run back to my MBs, because I know
100%.
that. But where I lose on my MBs is that miss-hit drop-off, which is really annoying. So as it stands right now, the ones that feel the best for me are the 150s.
Mm-hmm.
The looks on the T100 and the T150s are fantastic and look the same, but I feel that I almost want that T100 sacrificing a little bit of yardage, but still getting the height that I kind of like the look of, and still getting good spin numbers and a bit more carry than what I'm getting out of my MBs.
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, it's very easy to chase distance in like today. But yeah, you obviously compromise on things when you do chase that distance. And again, for the level you play at, I would much rather see more control of carry distance in total and almost less distance between them than chasing a bit of ball speed, bit more distance, and then seeing those gaps widen. You go and play a course that's a little bit not tricked up, but they've set it up tough, tuck a pin away, and you're like, I can't actually get to that. Downwind as well, you know, it's all good hitting flat bullets into wind when that turns down. Again, it's just how quickly can you stop the ball and can you access the pins. Got an interesting one up here, so just looking at optimizer.
Yeah.
So just Trackman's way of looking at how you deliver the club and giving us some optimal numbers to aim for a mid-trajectory flight.
Yeah.
So with your own, you know, again, we said it was a pretty good spot. You're definitely a little bit low on the ball speed. Launch angle was actually good, spin rate up at 7,000. Love to see that again from what
really
you want as well. I would rather have you sit on the higher side.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's saying optimal is 166 and you're at 156. So you definitely are giving up a little bit of distance. So if I go into T1, which again was kind of one we thought was performing really well, you can see there, you know, metrics wise, pretty bang on. You know, we're much closer to that ball speed, launch, spin and peak height, all still in a very good spot. So that's like, they're the ones I'll be watching, you know, are we getting you a little more ball speed, but maintaining really good spin rates and really good peak heights so that the ball is still stopping for you. And just consistency standpoint, not seeing those jumpy ones. We'll go back to kind of 100, 150. Got a couple different shafts I'd like you to kind of have a hit with. Again, monitor numbers, but a little feedback from yourself. You know, shafts are very much feel. And then we'll kind of talk about where we feel like, or what we feel is best, and then the possibilities of almost splitting the set in there as well. So what I'm going to give you this time, I'm going to go back to T1, but Modus 120 stiff this time.
Okay.
So same weight as what you've got in your own, but completely different profile. You know, getting some steps back in there that you don't have in the Project X.
You say steps in the shaft. What exactly am I going to get there with that?
Just a little more feel from it. Yeah, when you
that
don't
can
have
start to feel what we call boardy, kind of
exactly.
rigid.
Yeah. Great shot, Dan. Lovely.
That was lovely, yeah. Do you know what I like about this is like I'm looking at that 161 carry there, and I always think my 7-iron, if I could get it around 160 to 165, averaging 162, let's say, like I've done that with no effort.
Yeah.
Whereas with my MB, to get it to 160 or 165, like I'd have to really step into it.
Absolutely, and it's like you probably don't really want to do that.
No.
But the other thing I love is, like, you know, 6 yards total distance is a lot for, you know, it sounds pretty trivial, but realistically it's half a club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great shot, Dan.
That's great. Really nice.
Really good.
It's like when it's in the air, it looks controllable. It's just not like it's not like it's dipping or going.
No,
it's just holding its flight nicely, isn't it? 161 carry again. No effort.
7,000 spin. But yeah, like where you're at, let's have a look. Launch angle at 15.6, so we're pretty much looking for about half the loft there.
Yeah.
So I would say you're a tiny bit under that. But again, if you go back to optimizer, it's actually on the high side of spin. So when you're sitting under, like launch is low, Summit's got to compensate to help you. So the spin sitting a little higher is absolutely perfect.
So was this launching slightly lower and spinning up a little bit more? Is that what you're saying?
No, you've been pretty consistent throughout, to be honest. A tiny bit clean.
Slightly thin.
It's really good ball speed though. So like you've only dropped 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
1.5 if anything. Still covered 159 with that.
Yeah.
So again, that's one I would throw back and be like, that's a better outcome than what you would have got with your MB when that strike. Yeah.
I want to say slightly heavy, but
yeah, I think so. Yeah. How did the shaft feel?
I'll be honest. Other than the red splodge on the front of the shaft, which I didn't feel much on it as a difference. It felt similar to what.
Very, very good though.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that it wasn't
really tight.
I think almost the dispersion's got tighter.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep you 100, and this one should feel different. I'm going to go lighter, just purely to see how you react a little bit.
So we're going lighter but stiffer?
I think CPM wise this should play pretty close to what you've just been hitting it in a 120 stiff.
The last time I looked down at an X100 I was 22 years old at university.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Like 2 in a row where you've just not struck.
No.
Whether that's...
It feels, so you know when I'm standing here and I'm like, oh, does that feel heavy? Does that feel light?
Yeah.
It's not there. It's when I start pulling here, then I feel like, oh, well, I've got nothing up here. Mm-hmm. That's the sense I get. Again.
Yeah, but there's 3 in a row, so like at that point, I would just take it back off. Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel bad.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like I'm like, oh, that feels horrendous. It's just like I can't seem to find the bottom of the ball.
But there was no consistency in it.
No.
Like low heel, toe, centre. Yeah. So it's like you can't
Everything's
find it.
thin.
Yeah. Okay, right. So I'm going to go back to Modus 120, and I'm going to go to the 150 this time. See where we're at. Great shot. Like your good one with that is very, very good. 90 peak height, 46. But for me, from what I've seen anyway, like T100, it just looks like you can almost hit the same shot every time.
I don't want to look up and see 6-1, 6-2.
It's on the verge, isn't it? Yeah, but you can see like it's different. It's a little bit different each time, and I think almost you reacting to a couple as well. But that one where face is 0.6 shot, spinning at 61, it's gone 180 there.
Yeah,
which is like.
Well, I'm over the back of the green again, aren't I?
I would
if
say
I'm
so,
standing,
yeah.
if I'm standing there going right, I've got 165 to the pin. I'm going to go. I'm not going to hit an 8 iron for 160. I'm going to hit a 7 iron. Then it goes 180.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oof.
Yeah, land angle down at 45 on that one. So going back to consistency of flight in the T100 with the Modus 120 stiff, you know, starting line and shape very, very similar each time, and just double checking on optimizer mid trajectory. You're a little short of your optimal, but just due to spin rate being a little high. But again, as we've discussed, that's almost where you want to be.
Yeah, I'm
just so
happy with
you've
that.
got peace of mind of, you know, I'm not going to get the jumper here. Pretty much every shot very close to optimal. That one dropped a little there. That's probably slightly clean because launch is low, spins up, and peak height's down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be very happy with where you're at there, because essentially what we've gave you is just a slightly more forgiving version than what you've got, that peak height's a little higher.
Okay, so comfortable with the T100. Going now into trying what does it look like at the top of the bag, 5 iron in hand.
Yep.
See how the blend is.
Great shot. So ball speed's pretty perfect. Launch angle really, really good.
Yeah.
Peak height 85, land angle 43. Spin 5,000.
Perfect.
96 out of 5, is that about what you'd look for? Was that further?
Is that 184 carry in the...
Yes.
Yeah. Again, like I would have to really make sure I struck my MB to get that 184, 185 yardage.
Yep.
Whereas that seemed pretty easy to get there. So exactly the same as the 7 irons. Yeah, nice height as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, something not quite right if I can't hit a 5 iron in the set.
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's more, it's more when we get into the 4 iron that I've always seen over the years. This like bunching.
Yeah.
5 and 4s.
Yeah. 4 iron T100.
T100.
Shot. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, if we struck it like that every time, we'd be all right.
But you can see now you're getting very close to, like, we don't really want to see that land angle get below 40.
No.
Because realistically, you know, not use it a lot, but, you know, into par 5s, long par 3s, maybe some off the tee as well. Yeah. Land angle isn't as important there, but if you are hitting this into greens, we still want to maintain enough stopping power.
Yeah.
Great shot. Really good.
194 carry, it's 10 yards again, isn't it?
Perfect, yeah, very good.
I would be like comfortable as anything, even blending into that. I don't even, there's not, other than just a smidge in this corner here, I can't really see a big difference there.
Shot.
That was good. It's clean, but good. Again, that was quite effortless, to be honest.
5,000 spin, 42 land angle. So what that is it's a utility build T200.
This is, okay. Yeah,
So
so this has got a little bit more loft than the actual
So that's
set one.
the whole idea of it, is to blend in with 100s.
Ah,
So you've got, 2 degrees more loft than a standard T200, 1/4 of an inch longer as well.
okay.
I'd like to see it a couple more, because again, going back to when you're hitting the T200 7 iron, just sounds like you almost struggle to get in at the back of it a little more.
Yeah,
Great
it's
shot.
definitely clipping off the top more, isn't it?
Really
Like
good
those
there.
last 2 shots were just like there's no divot with them. Yeah, I mean both those gone 194, and good spin, better spin.
It is better spin, isn't it?
Just tried to help that a bit.
It's really good ball speed for a mister, and that's what you'll see going from T1 to T2 head.
Yeah,
Bit bigger, bit more forgiving. Like that's still, 197 total out of that.
yeah.
Ball speed still at that 130 number. What do you have a preference over the two? Did you prefer the T1?
I love the fact that this goes, you want to look up, it's in the air.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that actually, if anything, this is maybe even spinning a smidgen more. which I do like again. And it feels just effortless to get to that number that I need to get to with a 4-iron. So this now 150, sole in it is gonna be the same as what I've got in the one.
No, so it's still a thicker sole.
Oh, is it?
Not as thick as a T2 though.
So it's a blend between the two.
Great ball speed. Good ball speed again. Does it feel easier to get the strike with that though?
That's a good question, I don't know. I've not got one in the ground properly yet with it. That was good.
It's flatter though, isn't it?
It's a lot flatter. So how does the blend look then?
Yeah, so hit a few of the kind of longer irons as well. T100 4-iron went really, really well. Hit the ball speed, peak height and landing angle that we wanted. And then I thought we'd try 150. 150 was definitely a little bit flatter and hotter. Went to T200 in the utility build, so a little more loft in there as well. And it worked really, really well. Slightly different just from the sole design there. So what we're going to do is build up a T100 4-iron and a T200 utility 4-iron for yourself to take away and kind of test out on the course.
Well, there we go, fitting done. T100. Now, previously I have tested the old T100s. I've even carried the T100 4-irons in the previous 2 models. Not had the most success with them, if I'm brutally honest. I've always run back to my bladed irons. I actually put in the bag the T100Ss because they felt so much better, in my opinion, than the old T100. I didn't feel like I was getting enough out of the old T100 to make my other irons come out of the bag, my MBs. So to now finally find the feel that I'm looking for and get the spin numbers that I need, and with no extra effort hit those numbers which go just that little bit further, peaking out a little bit higher, that little tweak that Duncan's done there with the shaft as well, I think the whole package just feels like it's going to come together quite nicely for me. I'm not getting any better with my golf swing and my game, so I need some help. Hopefully these new T100 irons are going to help me with that strike performance. Well, I'd like to hear what you think about that video. Are you going to be going out and testing the new T Series range by Titleist? Down there in the comments, let me know what you think. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again very soon.